AITA for letting my ex-wife take the kids and our $2 million house in the divorce. You will never see the kids again, she said with a cold smile at the courthouse steps. Devastated, I moved into the basement of my late mother's row house in the Mayfair neighborhood of Philadelphia. While cleaning up, I found a safe hidden behind the furnace. The code was my birth date. Inside was a letter that started like this. If you are reading this, they finally found you. My name is Brandon. I am 38 years old. I am a freelance software developer and the father of 2 kids, Dylan, 7, and Zoe, 5. I was born in Philadelphia, but 10 years ago, I moved to New York for my ex-wife Nicole, who worked in marketing for a multinational company. I worked from home between cold coffee and calls with clients from all over the country, with that strange pride of believing that if you work hard, everything eventually works out. In my family, I was the calm one, the reliable one, the one who fixed routers and dishwashers, the one who never raised his voice. I never imagined telling my life story about how one lives in a basement. But that is how it is. You start with one box and suddenly find yourself surrounded by things that weigh you down. The day I walked out of the courthouse, the sentence Nicole planted in my gut was clear. You will never see the kids again. She said it quietly, smiling as if commenting on the weather. The judge did not hear it. Her lawyer did, and he looked away. I swallowed hard and pretended my hands were not shaking. My lawyer patted my shoulder. We will talk about the appeal later. I nodded and looked at the ground so as not to cry in front of all those people in suits. Are you okay? My sister Allison texted me. No, I typed. Then I erased it and wrote, yes, I will call you right back. I did not call. I took a megabus that dropped me off in Philadelphia because I could no longer afford the train ticket. I did not want to talk to anyone, nor hear the "you will see, it will work out" from friends. I looked out the window like when you are a kid and believe the highway leads to another planet. Next to me, a guy in his 20s was playing on his phone. In the front, a lady was sleeping with her mouth open. Life went on as if my story were just a bad episode of a cheap television show. I arrived at night at my mother's house in the Mayfair neighborhood. She had been gone for a year, and everything was left exactly as she had left it. The kitchen with its magnets from trips we never took together, the living room with the old television that took forever to turn on, and the basement. The basement, that dumping ground for just-in-case items. Welcome, I said aloud, with a sarcasm I did not even feel. I went down using my phone's flashlight. It smelled of dampness and clothes stored for too long. There were boxes labeled in her handwriting. Christmas, books, photos. I sat on a wooden stool. I took a breath and stayed there for a moment, staring at the floor. I was afraid, on one hand, afraid to open the boxes because she was alive in those papers and old things, and on the other hand, afraid to stay still and let my thoughts crush me. Hi, Linda. I called out to the neighbor who popped her head through the back door. Oh, Brandon, my boy, I am so sorry. Your mother was a ray of sunshine. I will leave you a container of my homemade lasagna. No, thank you. I am fine. I lied. I'm just going to clean up a bit. Call me if you need anything. Really, thank you so much. I started moving the boxes without a plan. I would open one, take a look, and close it back up. I found school photos, letters I had written to her from summer camp, a striped sweater I always hated, a 2009 calendar with circled dates. At times, Nicole's face would come back to me. Her voice at the courthouse, Dylan's hand squeezing mine at the park. My mind kept drifting and returning. That is when I saw the furnace. Behind it was a piece of drywall I did not remember. When I touched it, it moved easily. I carefully pulled it away. Behind it, embedded in the wall, was a small, gray combination safe. I froze. What? I whispered, as if someone could answer. I stepped closer and swiped my finger through the dust. No keypad, just the dial, and underneath, a barely visible date. September 18th, 1985. My date of birth. I felt a knot in my stomach. I was literally sweating. I did the first thing that came to mind. I turned the dial like in the movies. Left, right, left again. September 18th, 1985. A sharp click. The door slowly opened. Inside was a yellowed envelope with my name on it, a small key with a red ribbon, a USB drive, and a stack of bills I felt ashamed to count. I took the envelope and opened it with clumsy hands. I recognized my mother's handwriting and read the first line. If you are reading this, they finally found you. I sat on the floor, the envelope on my lap, my heart pounding in my ears. If you are reading this, they finally found you. Or maybe fear caught up with me before I could tell you to your face. I did not want to scare you when you were young. I was a coward. Forgive me. They are not movie monsters. They are men in button-down shirts with older model cars who stare at you a little too long. Your father got into debt with one of them. They called him Reyes. When he disappeared, they kept his list, and us along with it. I paid what I could. Sometimes they left me alone for years. Sometimes a new one would show up to remind me that life is a pending tab. I did not want this burden to fall on you. I kept papers, copies, and a small emergency fund. If they found you, call the notary on this card. Ask for Diane Walsh. She kept what I could not. Do not do anything stupid. Do not hide. Put everything in writing. And do not be afraid for the kids. I love you, Mom. The card was attached to another sheet, a sort of payment log with dates, small amounts, and notes. R. Came by. Silence. 3 months. Watch the door. I stayed there staring at the wall. I could hear my mother's voice. Put the deadbolt on. If they call and no one answers, hang up. I realized I had grown up with orders I did not understand, which now fit together like puzzle pieces. Okay, I said. I sounded to myself like a stranger. The problem was that my head was already broken by something else. The verdict, the $2 million house that was no longer mine, the custody that the judge deemed more stable for the kids. In our family, they used to say I was a good guy, but in court, a good guy often loses to a well-advised one. The house in Park Slope had eaten us alive. She wanted it. I gave in. We were that successful young couple, and I let them dress me in a jersey that was too small. I signed things without really reading them. I accepted that she, her family, and her trusted lawyer called the shots. When everything started to derail, she already had the script written. We filed for separation of assets, but the house, even if it is in your name, belongs to both of us, she told me in the kitchen. Do not be old-fashioned, Brandon. It is more practical. Okay, I replied, because I wanted peace. The $2 million were not really ours. Sure, they belonged to the bank. But in the divorce, the paper said what it said, and her cousin the lawyer spoke with verbs that commanded regime, liquidation, adequacy. I kept saying, but the kids, and they looked at me with pity. I called Allison. I found a safe belonging to Mom. What? With a letter and money. How much? I do not know. I did not count it. But there is a name. Reyes. Does that ring a bell? Not at all. Brandon, are you scared? Yes. I do not know if it is what she says, or if everything scares me now. What are you going to do? The letter says to call a notary. Diane Walsh. Do it. Do not be stupid and keep that money. Do not touch it. I hung up and called Scott, a friend who, even though he is not a family lawyer, had saved me from messy contracts before. How is it going, man? Cheered up, he answered happily, far from my dark cloud. Badly judged, you know. And I found a safe in the basement. What? Are you living a double life? If only. Listen, a letter from my mother, a guy named Reyes, and a notary contact. You cannot make this stuff up. Make an appointment tomorrow with the notary, and if you have any papers, bring them. I will give you the contact for Kate, a family lawyer who knows her stuff. Mine bailed on me back in the day. Thanks. And regarding Nicole, do not keep it all to yourself. Record everything. Demand that everything be put in writing. Those people live off traps, not proof. Another message. I need your bank account information for the child support, Nicole wrote, without a hello. I will send it to you in a bit. No, today. Today, I put the phone on airplane mode. I had a headache. I thought about the money in the envelope. I thought about the lawyer's bill. I thought about the empty fridge except for 2 expired yogurts and an onion. I plugged the USB drive into the computer. A folder with an ugly banking name. Loan 200,000 Brandon Nicole. Old photos, Reyes Walsh. I open loan 200,000 Brandon Nicole. Scan PDFs, a private contract. A receipt signed in Nicole's handwriting. Receipt from Patricia, 5. The sum of $200,000 to be reimbursed in case of sale, separation, or divorce. Year, 2017. At the bottom, her signature, mine. Certified correct at Notary Walsh. I stood still. My mother had paid the down payment for the house in New York. I had forgotten because it was family. The text vibrated again. Scott. Tomorrow 11 in the morning at Kate's. Bring everything. Linda came back by. I left the container of lasagna for you anyway. You can heat it up tomorrow, she said without waiting for an answer. You are very pale, Brandon. Put something in your stomach. Thank you, really. I went back upstairs with the container, feeling pathetic for accepting, but genuinely grateful. My mother, Linda, the notary I did not even know yet, my friend who was giving me contacts, and on the other side, Nicole giving me orders for the bank details in commander mode. I went back down to get the envelope. I put the money in a shoebox and put the safe back behind the drywall, just in case. The fear of them mixed with the fear of her. I felt like I was 10 years old. I fell asleep on the living room couch with my jacket on my back because the bedsheets smelled like the past. Before closing my eyes, I repeated the first sentence in my head. If you are reading this, they finally found you. Who? Reyes, Nicole, my own mistakes. All at the same time. Diane Walsh's office was on an upper floor in a building on Market Street. Walls covered in diplomas, watered plants, the smell of coffee and toner. The secretary smiled at me as if I did not have a cloud over my head. Mr. Brandon? Yes, the notary will see you in 10 minutes. Diane was the type to look you in the eye, not cold. She had this calmness that made you feel you were not bothering her. I knew your mother. Well, I knew her. My condolences. She was a clear-headed woman. Yes, she left me instructions for when my sister or I came by. You never came. I did not dare call and rush things. Forgive me. You did the right thing. She handed me a sealed envelope and asked for my identification and a signature in a ledger. Inside the envelope, a certified copy of the $200,000 loan contract, a bank transfer from my mother's account to our joint account, and one more letter. If you are here, Brandon, it means you decided not to play the hero all alone. Good job. The loan I gave you for the house was not a gift. I told you so, but you were in love and I wanted you to feel capable. You signed a contract. If one day they tell you it does not exist, come here. If one day they tell you the house is not yours, remember that in this life, we also return what does not belong to us. And if you are ashamed to use this, think of your children. I bit my lip. For the first time in days, I did not just feel guilt. I felt a trickle of justice. Private contract signed, and with proof of transfer hold up. I do not know how your divorce went, but the debt exists, and the division of marital property, if reopened, or compensation can be negotiated. You need a good family lawyer and possibly a civil one. Thank you. I walked out with the folder in my backpack the way one carries a rope on a mountain. I called Kate, the lawyer Scott had recommended. She saw me the same day, impeccable pantsuit and half patience, half urgency. Brandon, we are going to get this in order. First, the visitation schedule. She has already missed one. Yesterday, she canceled the video call because they were tired. Today, I do not know. Okay, we record everything in a co-parenting app. No more texts. Everything goes through there. Second point, child support. I need your income from the last 12 months and expenses. Everything. Third point, the house and the loan. That is a different war, but we can open it. It is an instrument of debt. If she does not want to pay, we claim it legally. Fourth point, these Reyes people. Different jurisdiction, but we cover ourselves. Preventive police report in case there are threats. That is a lot. Yes, but step by step. Do you have enough for a retainer? I swallowed hard. I thought about the stash. I have something. Perfect. And one last thing, never be alone with Nicole again. No calls, no arguing. Everything in writing. I will handle talking to her lawyer. Her lawyer is her cousin. All the more reason. He will be overconfident. I walked out with a to-do list. I called Allison. We can claim Mom's money. Mom knew. She always knew. Yes. And as for them, I am going to go to the police station just in case. Thursday night, 10:30 in the evening, the doorbell rang. I jumped. Through the peephole, a man in his 30s, cheap leather jacket, neat little beard, a smile without showing his teeth. Brandon? He asked, looking at the camera. Who is it? A friend of your dad's. My throat tightened. My dad is dead. Exactly. Open up. I am not here to cause trouble. I do not open the door for strangers. Suit yourself. I will leave you my number. Call me. You will save yourself some trouble. Tony. He slid a piece of paper under the door. It reeked of strong cologne. I waited without breathing. He left. The paper had a name and a barely legible number. Someone linked to my father's past. I called Scott. Man, a guy showed up. He mentioned Reyes. Do not open the door for anyone. Tomorrow, police station, and keep the paper. Was it a threat? No, just you will save yourself some trouble. All the more reason to report it. I slept in snatches. I dreamed about the furnace, about a child locked inside it with Nicole's voice saying, "You will never see the kids again," from the cutlery drawer. The next day, I requested the video call at 7 in the evening through the app. Nicole replied with fever. I asked for medical documentation. Excuse me. Then do not make me laugh, Brandon. I saved the conversation. I went to the police station. The officer took notes. Violence, threats? No. Then, diligence for possible future coercion. If he comes back, call 911. I walked out, sat on a bench, and called Nicole. Do not call me, she answered. I told you through the app. I want to see the kids. When it is your turn. It is today at 7. Yesterday was a video call too. They are sick. Send the doctor's note. I am not going to send you that. Who do you think you are? We will see each other in court for your little papers. Eh, what? Are you going to cry? You will not see the kids again. I told you so. My vision blurred. I hung up. I went into the bathroom of a bar. I leaned against the sink, shaking. I looked at myself in the mirror. Dark circles, 3-day beard. The only clear thought, it will break me if I do not set a boundary. I thought back to my mother's letter. Do not hide. Put everything in writing. I thought back to Kate. No more calls. Everything through the app. I thought back to the $20 bills in the shoebox. I had to choose where to put this energy, begging or building. Back in the basement, I opened the shoebox. Counted $8,000, just enough for the retainer and to eat for a month. I opened the app and wrote to Nicole. From now on, all communication here as per the court order. Today at 7 in the evening, video call. In case of noncompliance, tomorrow I will file a breach of order. Thank you. Sent. I took a photo of Tony's paper. Sent it to Scott and Kate. My mother would have liked this order. The following days were a strange mix of papers, calls, and long silences. Kate filed the incident report for violating the visitation schedule. She taught me the templates. Short messages without adjectives. Hello, I am requesting video at this time. June 6th, doctor's note. Nicole's replies were dry. Her lawyer cousin sent me a condescending email. My client feels the minors have been exposed to stress from your end. Please avoid insisting. Kate replied. June 6th, screenshots of requests within the time slots set by the order. Please comply. Legal proceedings initiated. One Friday, finally, at 7:05 in the evening, Dylan's face appeared on the screen. He had tired eyes. Zoe was next to him in unicorn pajamas. Daddy, Zoe said in a high-pitched voice. Hi, my love. Hi, buddy. Mom says you are in Philadelphia. Dylan blurted out like throwing a rock. Yes, at Grandma Patricia's. Do you remember? I lied. I did not want to say your grandmother. I did not want to burden them. Are you okay? Yes. We made a craft, Zoe said. And the soccer tournament, I did not go. My stomach hurt, Dylan said. I swallowed hard. I did not cry. I told them I was cleaning up Grandma's house, that there were lots of boxes, that Linda brought me lasagna. Who is Linda? Zoe asked. A neighbor who cooks really well. Mom says not to eat things given by strangers, Dylan said, very seriously. Mom is right, but this is good. I have known her forever. The video call lasted 9 minutes. At exactly 7:30 in the evening, it cut off. End of time slot, Nicole wrote. Before, I would have exploded. Now, I saved the chat and sent it to Kate. 7:30 in the evening cut by the mother. Response received. Meanwhile, the loan issue was progressing slowly but surely. Kate coordinated with a civil law colleague, Greg. He looked at the papers, ran the numbers. There is a case. The debt is from her to your mother's estate. We claim it. And if she does not pay, execution. As for the house, the registry decides. But a debt is a debt. Do not obsess over the house. Go for the acknowledgement of debt. Nicole's lawyer cousin called. Brandon, man, how are you? Good. Speak to my lawyer, please. Let us not be like this. Among family, we settle things better. With my lawyer, well, we will see. Listen, your mother's little piece of paper has no value, you know. With my lawyer. I hung up. Heart beating fast, but something new. Self-respect. The Reyes issue did not just disappear on its own. Tony reappeared one afternoon when I was taking out the trash. Let us talk. I have nothing to say to you. Your old lady had a pending matter. My mother had nothing. If you have a claim, make it legally. Yes, of course, legally. He laughed. I reported you without hesitation. If you come snooping again, I will report you again. And there are cameras. He looked at me for a few seconds. Something in my voice or the word cameras stopped him. Do not be a smart aleck, Brandon. There are people less polite than me. Goodbye, Tony. He walked away looking serious. I called Frank, a retired inspector recommended by Diane. We met in a cafe in Fishtown. So, black coffee. Reyes is no longer Reyes. It is like saying the guy at the bar. The group disbanded. They took each other out. Some are in prison for other things. What is falling on you is sniffing around. They smell you are vulnerable and testing the waters. Do what you did. Police report, cameras, vigilant neighbors, and do not pay anyone without paperwork. If you pay, they ask for double. Your mother paid sometimes, different times. Today, there are more tools. And you are not alone. You have lawyers. Use the law. And if one day there is a direct threat, 911. Cut off the dialogue. You are not their client. Thank you, Frank. Back in the basement, I breathed a little easier. I asked Linda to keep the packages if she saw anyone weird. I asked Allison not to come over just yet, that it was a mess, that I preferred she not be seen hanging around there. I put a fake camera in the backyard and a real, cheap one that films the door. I organized the papers as if tidying the table tidied the world. Professionally, I had to accept some lousy gigs, a lot of hours, low margins. One client paid late, another with excuses. I did the math. The set child support was too high for what I was earning now. Kate requested a modification of measures. The court is slow. With the $8,000, I paid the retainer, filled the fridge, and paid the bills. I calculated in 2 months, I would be at zero. I called a former partner to ask for work, even as a proofreader. He threw me an underpaid e-commerce dashboard job, but I accepted it. I swallowed my pride so many times I did not know if I still had any left. One day, Kate. They are responding by acknowledging the debt, offering payment over 3 years. You can accept or go to trial for more. They accept video calls as per the order and propose expanding to every other Saturday in person, supervised in New York. I looked at the phone. I cried. Yes, cried, because amidst all the darkness, there was a light. I called. What do? We negotiate the schedule and guarantees that the payment commitment is by wire transfer with a wage garnishment or real estate collateral. And we lock in a progressive visitation plan. It is a step. And the house. The house is not the war right now. The war is seeing your kids and recovering what belongs to your mother's estate. Nicole wrote to me on the app. The kids are asking about you. Saturday, you can come from 10 in the morning to 6 in the evening. I will be there. I typed erased. Rewrote. Confirmed. Saturday 10 in the morning to 6 in the evening. Meeting point, Prospect Park. Thank you. On Saturday at the park, Dylan ran into my arms. Zoe looked at me for a second as if to size me up, and then kissed my cheek. Nicole was a few meters away, phone in hand, watching. I walked over. Thank you for complying. Do not get used to it. She replied without looking up from her screen. I will comply too. Everything through the app. Yes, the nice digital guy. I crouched down with the kids. Daddy, can we get ice cream? Dylan asked. Yes, but first sandwiches, I said, pulling out 3 sandwiches made by Linda. Who is Linda? Nicole asked upon hearing the name. There was a weird hint of jealousy. The neighbor. Do not worry. There is no one new. I am not worried. Good. The day was a mix of playing, Daddy look, Daddy come here, and brief silences with Nicole when we had to go to the bathroom. When it was time to say goodbye, Zoe cried a little. Nicole looked at me like, look what you are doing to them. I got down to her level. We will see each other next Saturday. I promise. And when Daddy promises, he keeps it. Nicole sighed, but said nothing. I took the train back with a lighter bag and a heavy heart, but it was in the right place. Months passed. I will not lie. Nothing was magical. The loan payments were signed and went into a Patricia estate account that Kate helped me open as the administrator. It was not my money. It was the inheritance, but it gave me breathing room so I would not drown. The visits expanded. First Saturdays, then alternating weekends. Now, I also get a Wednesday afternoon. The video calls are sacred. If there is non-compliance, there are consequences. The court, with the evidence, looked at us differently. Me as someone who complies, her as someone who learned she no longer decides alone. Reyes deflated into thin air. Frank was right. It was all smoke. I reported 2 more guys who were snooping around, and they never showed up again. I put up a motion sensor floodlight in the backyard, and I got used to the noise without jumping. I started sleeping again in snatches. I landed better clients, not out of pity, but because I forced myself to write well to companies, to speak clearly, to invoice properly. I even sold some electronic gadgets I no longer needed. I rented a small apartment near public transit with a bunk bed for when the kids come. I painted a wall blue with them. Dylan says it looks like the sea. Zoe stuck vinyl stars on it and says she is no longer afraid of the dark because Daddy painted the sky. With Nicole, I speak the strict minimum and through the app. If she tries to sting, I do not bite. If she tries to skip a rule, I document it. If she complies, I say thank you. Resentment does not come naturally to me. Anger does, but I put it on paper. I told her that one day, 6 feet away at the meeting point. When she tried what kind of man does not fight for his house? Nicole, from now on, respect and rules. Otherwise, we do not talk. The kids are neither your weapon nor my shield. They are our kids. She looked at me like I was speaking a new language and did not answer. Sometimes, silence is the first sign that they understood. My mother's house no longer weighs me down. I go up to the basement, open the safe, and touch the cold metal. No more money inside, just the key with the red ribbon and the letter. I read it sometimes, not always. I learned not to live in that sentence, but to use it as a lighthouse. If you are reading this, they finally found you. They found me, the judge, the bank, the lawyer cousin, the ghosts of Reyes, my own fear. And I found myself, which is probably what my mother wanted. I did not get the $2 million house back, and I do not want it anymore. I do not want a house that crushes me anymore. I want a table with no debt and a door that locks from the inside. I am not a movie hero. I am a guy with a laptop and 2 kids who still say daddy, with that joy that puts air in your lungs. Comment. This story really touched me deeply, and I hope it leaves you with something meaningful, too. Setting clear boundaries is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself. Protecting your peace and your children's well-being is never selfish, as real healing begins the moment you choose self-respect over bitterness. Even in difficult times, consistent responsibility creates stability and trust. The support from kind people around us can carry us through the darkest moments. Learning to respond with calm instead of anger changes everything. You deserve to rebuild a life that feels safe and honest. Keep choosing integrity, and better days will come. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.